You know, we started Warshauer Tech in 1999 basically because the state of New Jersey had come out with a requirement that all electrical contractors in the state of New Jersey receive 34 hours of continuing education before they could get their license renewed. Their licenses are good for 3-year periods. And in that 3-year period, the state of New Jersey now came up with a requirement that they have these 34 CEUs, as they call them, continuing education units. So as soon as the state passed that requirement, one of my contractor customers had called me up and said, hey, by the way, I don't know if you know this new requirement that's out, but they're requiring us to get this educational, state-approved education, and we have no idea where to get it. Could you just do me a favor and do some digging, because I know that you know your way around the state and you know some people there, and just kind of find out where we can get this education and just let me know. So upon digging into this to find out exactly where they could get this education, I found that it was extremely limited. Yet they had this requirement, and this is like late in 1999, and the requirement was going to start in 2000. So when I found out that there were very few places, like a couple community colleges offered state-approved continuing education, a couple technical schools had offered it, it really wasn't widely available to the contractor base, and nor was it available at times where they would be available to take it. A lot of them were during the day, and these guys are working during the day, and they needed more of a nighttime offering. So I immediately started pursuing on how Warshauer Electric could become one of these continuing education providers. And so I went before the state and made my pitch, and they wanted absolutely nothing to do with me and Warshauer, because they basically said, well, this guy wants to just make a sales presentation for 3 hours. And we really want our contractors to become educated and learn about new products and processes and codes and things like that. So I really felt in my heart that this is something that was worth all the time and effort to try to get approved. But the state meets once a month. So every month, like a beaten down puppy, I'd walk back into the state office and it'd be like, here he is again. And I just kept coming and coming, and every time they asked me to refine something, I'd refine it, and detail something, I'd detail it. After probably 11 months, 11 times of being in front of them, they finally said to me, okay, you're going to do a 3-hour class. We like what you laid out for us in this 3-hour class. Put on 45 minutes of it for me. And so I went to the state and to Trenton, and I literally put on a 45-minute snippet of a class that I would hold at Warshauer Tech. And at the end of the 45 minutes, one of the instructors, or one of the board members, it's the New Jersey State Board of Examiners that dictates whether you get accredited by the state to be a continuing education provider. One of the board members on the Board of Examiners stood up and said, I don't know about you guys, but I learned something in that 45 minutes. I think we got to give this guy a shot. And so they reluctantly agreed to allow me to do one class. It had a state limit. The state limit's 75 people per class. They told me they were going to audit me and be all over me. They didn't want to hear any sales pitch. They didn't want to hear anything about anything. They said, Jim, you can get up and introduce the speaker, but after that, we don't want to hear Warshauer's name mentioned. That first class I ran, I'll never forget it, down in Spring Lake. We had 75 people there. We maxed it out, so I knew I was onto something good there. I went up and I just said, thank you for coming. My name is Jim Dunn, Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Warshauer. I'm your host for the evening. I introduced our speaker. I stepped off the podium. We put on an absolute phenomenal presentation. And from that moment on, with the state sitting there auditing me and auditing our sign-in and sign-out procedures and all the other things that go along with running these classes, they came back and said, that was awesome, that was phenomenal. And so we just, from that point forward, they trusted us, and we kept submitting different classes. And, now we have over 125 classes approved by the state of New Jersey to teach electrical contractors continuing education.